The narration observes that distinction no longer invites scrutiny.
The room no longer asks questions.
Attention rests without resistance. Observation can now return to where it started. The scene is perfectly still. The image feels settled in its configuration.
Balance does not announce itself.
Meaning no longer accumulates.
Coherence has returned quietly.
Contrast no longer draws attention.
Stability can emerge gradually.
Form no longer questions itself.
Neutrality can feel intentional. Progression is no longer expected.
Correspondence can feel reassuring.
Expectation gradually quiets.
Placement can feel sufficient.
Here, time doesn't seem to move forward. Instead, it feels entirely circular, returning always to the same still point.
Distance feels settled.
Repetition can feel complete. Recognition no longer escalates. Continuity does not require motion.
Clarity does not always invite conclusion.
The daylight implies a familiar hour that cannot be recalled, and memory offers no confirmation.
Alignment can feel final without signaling an end.
Movement can be inferred without change.
Overlap erases clear order.
Priority shifts without instruction.
As the light shifts, duration becomes implied rather than simply observed.
Stability no longer anchors perspective. That sequence is no longer accessible.
The shadow beneath the chair suggests a slightly earlier configuration than the chair itself, and thus order becomes ambiguous. Attention cycles without progression.
Presence does not require beginning. The room feels complete without requiring an explanation. Coherence becomes optional. Familiarity can thin without disappearing.
Reflections, it is observed, can sometimes lag behind the objects they represent.
And so, it was concluded that here, time no longer advances.
Experience fragments across surfaces.
Recognition precedes understanding.
Gradients imply movement without motion.
The room is understandable, but no longer straightforward.
Reflections are not exact replicas. The room contains multiple temporal cues. Recurrence does not imply return.
Light can organize space unexpectedly.
Time inside the room feels difficult to place.
Duration is harder to infer from light.
The chair appears perfectly centered, yet the eye insists it is slightly rotated. This demonstrates
Certainty weakens with inspection.
The change lacks sequence.
Measurement yields conflicting results.
Material response can diverge.
Position no longer confirms location.
Distance can feel compressed. Different surfaces imply different moments.
Correspondence is not guaranteed.
None of I'd say the phase counts.
Contrast can lessen over time. Clarity can shift without cause.
As the light shifts, we observe that the relationships between elements can invert.
Depth can feel subjective.
The room is minimalist, featuring smooth white walls and a light oak floor. Natural light streams in from the
Consistency is sometimes assumed rather than observed.
Alignment can feel different from measurement.
Emphasis can shift unintentionally.
categorization becomes less useful.
The transitions are not uniform.
Surfaces are not perfectly uniform.
Illumination does not always travel straight.
The light on the floor fades more quickly than the wall illumination, and the surfaces respond unevenly.
The overlap complicates interpretation.
The separation, as you can see, can be subtle.
Coincidences draw attention.
Brightness does not always follow proximity.
The light seems to arrive from a place that is difficult to pinpoint.
geometry can feel approximate.
The daylight shifts slowly, creeping across the wooden floor and gradually moving higher up the far wall.
Shadows do not always clarify direction. Perspective, it seems, influences appearance. As the light changes, so too does our understanding of the object before us.
The light is filtered by architecture. Orientation can influence comfort.
The shadows here respond precisely to the light angle, growing longer as the day progresses.
The chair sits comfortably in the space.
Illumination is even.
Surfaces interact naturally with light.
Color temperature can vary subtly.
Small details define form.
The room is easy to describe.
The shifting shadow illustrates a fundamental principle, that time, in its steady progression, directly influences our perception of light.
Balance is maintained.
Shadows define objects.
The layout feels intentional.
Is fine. The narration notes that the light behaves in a predictable way.
As the day progresses, the direction of the light subtly shifts. Notice how the shadows begin to move and shorten.
Nothing draws particular attention.
The environment feels stable.
Materials behave as expected. The space feels open.
The room appears orderly and easy to understand.